Good morning. Today is Wednesday, November 30th. And today we're going to be talking about San Francisco. So I have the background here of the Golden Gate Bridge, San Francisco landmark. Some other notable things are Alcatraz, headquarters for Salesforce, UC San Francisco, and of course the Warriors are here. Go Dubs. So we're going to go over the stats of two types of properties for San Francisco: single family homes as well as condos and townhouses. And the stats we'll be looking at will be the number of homes for sale, number of homes pending, days on market, and median prices. And lastly, we'll look at months of inventory. So the actives are what's happening right now, available for sale. Pendings are what are in contract, right? So that's how many properties are actually selling, and then days on market is how long it takes to sell. So let's jump right in. Okay, here we go. So here we are. This is first starting with single family homes. We're going all the way back to 2018. So we can see here we're under 400. And it's going up and down. There's a large peak here during COVID. And once again, I'll remind that we're talking about single family homes. So let's go to November here. Right, so we are down, okay, so there's a large peak in 2020 with COVID, but now we're below the numbers from before COVID 2018, so only 346 houses for sale this month, right? So let's look at how many have sold, which are the pendings. And we can see that we're down a little bit as well. So you can see the chart here, it's cyclical. So the springtime, more sales, and then the fall and winter, less sales. So spring and summer up and then down. So it's a very cyclical trend here. And we can see it's good to look at individual months, and we can see that we're definitely down. So sales were high in the spring, right? Number of sales, and then now we can see things have slowed down, right? So it was at close to 300. Now we're down at 151 pendings, which are below what they were even before COVID, right? 200 sales in 2018 in November here. So let's see how long it's taking to sell. We can see here it is definitely picked up, right? Which is what we've seen, which is what we have seen looking at the stats, right, every week. So it's picked up a little bit here recently, right? So it was super low, right, the last 2 years, and now we're climbing back up. So we're at 20 days, which is above what it was before COVID, right? So it was about 15 to 20 days during the fall time here, and we're a little bit higher, about 3 weeks. So now we're going to look at months of inventory. And so looking at that, we're pretty stable. Okay, so we're at just over 2 months of inventory, which is when it was before COVID, and there's a little peak here in 2020 during COVID. And then looking back at the springtime when the market was super hot, it was less than 1.5 months of inventory. Right, so it's still a seller's market. So things have slowed down with the last few months, but it's still definitely a seller's market. So now the number we've been looking for, the sales prices. So we can see that it's down, right? So it peaked at $2 million median sales price, and we're down to 1.5, right? So we can see here that we can look at November here. In 2018, median sales was 1.4 million, went up to 1.87 last year and down to 1.5. So a little bit increase from back then, but definitely down, right? So you can see looking at October, same story, 1.5 went up to 1.8, down to 1.67, right? So that tells us that the market has definitely cooled, right? So this peak here, beginning of the year, down. So now let's quickly look at the other type of property, right? Apartment buildings. So let's look at number for sale. So we can see here this really, really large peak here during COVID. Things have stabilized, right? So during COVID, we're almost 2,000 units were for sale, and then now we're at 700. So we're close to what it was historically, right, before COVID. So now let's look at number of pendings, right, which is telling us how many are selling. Right, so we're definitely lower, right? So the ratio was there was a lot for sale and not too many selling, right, here. And then now things have slowed down even further, right? So we're at 114. Whereas in the summer, we were still pretty stable at the number of sales per month, right? So things have definitely slowed down on the condos and townhouses side for San Francisco. And most likely we'll see that reflected in the months of inventory and how long it's taking to sell, right? So we can see here, the beginning of the year, it was 2 weeks, right? And now we're at a month, right? 33 days. And we can see here, it's pretty similar to historical times during the winter, fall time, right? For the condos and townhouses in San Francisco. Right, now let's look at the months of inventory. So we're at 4 months of inventory, right, which is a little bit higher than before. 5 months here. So before it was 2 months, winter was the beginning of the year. We can see much hotter, right? So things have definitely slowed down on this side. And I would say it's more so in the buyer's market in the condo townhouse space in San Francisco versus being a seller's market, which I think it still is on single family houses. Right, and we can see the median prices, right, have been in this range here, right, between 1 and 1.4, right, for the past 5 years here, right? So 1.225 million, and we're a little bit down to just under 1.15 million. And looking back here, during the hot times, it did go up a little bit, right? The peak was 1.368 million in April, compared to 1.25 in 2018. All right, so that wraps up our San Francisco market. So I would say, looking at the stats, the single family market is still a selling market. Condos and townhouses in San Francisco has definitely shifted to the buyer's market. And I just want to take a quick moment to talk about interest rates. So we've seen interest rates pull back a little bit. They're still definitely higher than the beginning of the year, but if there are any properties that you're interested, I think it's a very good time to buy, to be contrarian, right? So I think that there's a lot of fear in the market right now. And if the numbers work for you on the lending side, there's always, you can afford it. I think it's a good opportunity to buy because potentially interest rates could drop in the future and there is less competition out, but make sure that you're comfortable with the finances and the loan, because you don't want to be in a situation where you're forced to sell. That's when it could be painful. But if you buy and hold, I think it's a good opportunity right now with less competition. All right, until next week, have an awesome rest.